So we had a code P0455 when the check engine light was on. That was the customer complaint. So check engine light's on. We check the code. The code is the P0455. This particular vehicle is known for having issues with the Evap purge solenoid. This is the location. This is the intake right here. This is the rear by the firewall, and it's just sits right back here. There's a hose running this way, a hose running this way, and then there's an electrical connector right there. And because this vehicle is known for having the purge solenoid go out, what happens is it's just like a valve that opens and closes, and it opens and closes thousands of different times in the life of the vehicle. So it just doesn't seat down properly, or the whatever is inside doesn't seat down properly. This is normally closed, meaning when you're driving your vehicle and it's not sending electrical flow through the unit, it's closed, not allowing the vapors to flow through. So what happens is your system understands that there's a leak because this thing's not seated properly, it's not closed properly, letting vapors into your engine without the computer being controlled. The reason it knows that it has a small leak, it uses the fuel tank pressure sensor. So it'll pull a vacuum, close the valves, and then if the pressure goes from a vacuum and the pressure starts rising, then the computer knows that it has some type of leak. And that there's different types of leak. There's small leak, which is P0442, also P0456, or there's a larger leak in the case that we have, which is a P0455. And one simple, easy step that you can do before you go hunting down all kinds of different problems, because in this instance, I've seen a lot of people change fuel pumps, change the pressure sensor on the fuel tank pressure sensor, and to no avail. They don't fix the code. So one simple, easy step you can do is just remove this. Remove the hose from this side. It's just a regular hose clamp. Another hose clamp over here. Remove the electrical connector. And what you can do is you could get one end, hook up the pump to one end of the solenoid and pump it with a vacuum pump. And if it holds vacuum, then typically it's good. But you have to also understand that sometimes it'll be a faulty. It'll be faulty sometime. It'll be it's not happening all the time. I'm trying to think of the word. You guys know what I'm talking about. I'll put it in the description. You know, where it doesn't happen all the time. So what you want to do is just remove it. Pull a vacuum on either end of the valve. And if it holds vacuum, typically it might be good, but it also you might want to like knock it a little bit to see if it's not if it loses pressure when you hold the vacuum. Just maybe tap it with a screwdriver a little bit. But in this case, this is the old one, and you pull a vacuum, you could really just stick your mouth to this and suck on it, which is kind of nasty, but just put your mouth on it, suck on it while you take it off. It's supposed to be closed with no electricity going through it, and if you're able to suck air through it, then it's no good. Replace it, and it may or may not fix your code, but in this case it fixed the code. So that's something you could do easily for diagnosis. Remove it, pull a vacuum on this end, or pull a vacuum on this end, whichever end, just to see if it's holding vacuum, or you could just suck on one end or suck on the other. Or you can put a hose here, put air, put this end into some water, and if bubbles start coming out, then you know the air's going through. You know, whatever method you use. But in this case, this fixed the code for the P0455, which is the large evaporative emissions leak. So before you go hunt down all kinds of other problems, go ahead and take a look at this thing, because it's easy to access in this case. And pull a vacuum, use a little hand vacuum pump. Oh, the word I was looking for was intermittent. I'll just put it there right now. Intermittent problem means it doesn't happen all the time. That's what I'm saying. If you pull a vacuum on this old unit and it's holding a vacuum, just tap it a little bit and it may get stuck, because just by removing it and wiggling it around, it may fix itself, but temporarily. So what you want to do is pull a vacuum and then maybe just tap it a little bit just to make sure that it's not an intermittent problem. Thanks for watching, comment, rate, and subscribe.